Hello everybody, Bradley here, and welcome to your Wednesday Civilization video. When we set up the Civ Give, we were talking about how to set up the game, and I am a person that plays without mods, but for the Civ Give, we are using the Better Balanced Start mod, a modification to the game that is designed to make sure that everyone in the game at least gets a reasonable starting location, so everyone has a fair shot. I think this is amazing, but I've never used this mod before, so in this video, I have downloaded this mod, and we have cycled through a bunch of starting locations with the leaders that I might be playing in the game to see what kind of starts I can expect when we come to the final moment and we load into the Civ Give game. As we are rolling through the starts, I'm going to be talking to you about how I think of the starts, why I think they're good, why I think they're bad, hopefully give you some tips and tricks so when you are analyzing your starting locations in your own Civilization games that you can make good decisions about where to put your settler, where to put your warrior, where to settle that first city. Now, before we hop in, I just want to be clear, this mod does not change the game in any way, right? It just moves around and creates the map so people have better spawn locations. It doesn't add yields to tiles where yields don't normally exist. So this will feel completely familiar to your normal game of Civ if you are playing without this mod, and it'll look very, very similar. So the starting locations are still good to analyze, and the analysis should carry over to your Civ games as well. Before we hop in, though, I just want you to know that we stream Civilization a few times a week over on twitch.tv/VanBradley. So many of you come over there and say hi while we're streaming, and it's a true joy to have you guys kind of come and hang out for a little bit. So if that's your vibe, that's your jam, and that's something you want to do, that link is in the description below. Also, let me know what you think of this video. Do you want more of these types of videos, less of these types of videos? On Friday, we will be coming at you with the start of a Japan game. I've already recorded most of it. It should be a wonderful, fantastic game, and that'll be coming to you Friday morning. Otherwise, I think that's it. Let's hop in and analyze some starts. So in game, I normally play completely mod free. The reason why I do this is I want both the YouTube channel and the Twitch live stream to be accessible to as many people as possible. So if you are a new Civ player and you just bought the game, you might not know about the mods or might not have them, or you'll come to the stream or watch the YouTube and something might look weird. So I don't normally play with mods, but like I mentioned in the intro, the Civ Give is using the Better Balanced Start mod, which doesn't change the game at all. It just kind of creates the maps to have a more balanced set of starting locations for everyone involved in the game. So let's enable this for the first time since I can remember on Civ 6 enabling a mod, and let's head into the game and start reviewing some starts. The Civ Give map is going to be a Pangea map with Secret Societies mode, abundant resources, and I believe abundant strategic resources. We're going to roll a bunch of starts with Japan, Cleopatra, and Pericles. Those are the three leaders that I might be playing in the Civ Give, and I want to wrap my head around what kind of starts I can expect in the big match. Here we are with roll number 1. When you are analyzing starting locations, I've mentioned this in a few different tutorials before, so if you want to Google those or head to the YouTube, or just check out all the analyzing start tutorials that are out there, there's a few things you're looking for. First is a good tile to settle and some good tiles to work after you settle that tile. So some good tiles to work in your immediate range. You're looking for fresh water. That is a must. You're looking for luxury resources. You're looking for places to put your districts. Now, not all of those things have to happen in every start for it to be good, but those are some of the things you are looking for. So immediately here, I think I want to settle in place. On online speed, if you move over all the way here, that'll be like a turn 6 settle, and that's far too late. I think turn 3 in online speed is the same as turn 6 in a regular game. So I think you settle in place here. The grassland hill isn't, or the grassland flatland tile, sorry, is not ideal because we won't get a 2-2 start. But we have a bunch of good 2-2 tiles to work around. I can see we have a luxury resource here, and cotton's not too bad either. A little bit of growth, a little bit of gold. And because I'm Japan and all my districts get adjacencies from building next to each other, I'm not too fussed about having to build my districts here. You can even maybe start seeing where you might want to put a government plaza here, and you can start kind of building districts around that too, and you can make quite a few great districts with this start. So I don't mind this one. This was fine. We'll go with fine for this one. It's okay. It's not great, but it's okay. Japan roll number 2 is all right. I'm starting to sense a pattern here where I might be able to have quite a few good tiles around, but nothing quite amazing yet. And maybe that's what the Better Balanced Start mod does, is it kind of just takes those really, really high starts, brings them down a little bit, takes the really, really low ones, brings them up a bit, and gives you a few starts like this. So obviously we need to stay near the water here. If I move towards this fresh water, I think that I don't, like, the problem is you don't know, right? I know what these tiles are. I don't know what these tiles are. Settling in place, having a 3-2 to work kind of makes up for the fact that I'm not settling on a 2-2. Getting, this will just be ocean water, right? Yeah, so it's not freshwater. So no freshwater here, but still a coastal settle. It is going to boost sailing, which may or may not be important. I have no idea, but it's good to know. We have marble here. Again, a little bit of early culture, some good tiles to work around. I think you just plop down right in place. This is definitely one of those settles, though, where I'm going to move the builder just to see if I can find anything else out. Moving to the marble takes too many turns to get there and then settle. So I am, again, happy to settle in place. And I will call this an okay start as well. This start feels almost exactly like the last start. The problem with this one is the warrior isn't going to be as helpful for me. What I'd love is to see what's on the other side of this tile here. But having the wine here is really nice. Like we talked about, strategic resources nearby can oftentimes be amazing. Even bad strategic resources like incense at least are giving you faith, so you can get a Pantheon quicker. I am very tempted to move here. This time, what's different is I have good tiles here to work right away. If I move over next to the river, I can get the fresh water and the sailing boost at the same time, which I think is probably worth it. I'm going to use my warrior just to move on top of a hill, just to see what's out there. This looks like it might be a good campus as well. Just something to pick out, that this start has a good campus or holy site or something that I might want to build there. But otherwise, I think you turn to settle right here. Now, this mountain changes things too, but you can't go back, I don't think. So you go right here. This one's all right. I don't know if all right is worse than okay, but it's an all right settle. I don't hate it. Good harbor as well. It's an all right settle. I think this will probably be pretty obviously my least favorite start of them all so far. I was a little bit happier with the other ones, but there is some good stuff here as well. This is a Plains Hill tile, so settling this will give us a 2-2. A 2-2 with a 3-1 to work, and some gold here isn't too bad either. I think a 2-2 with a 2-1, but plus the 3 gold can be quite helpful in the early game. Having that gold built up can help defend from enemies, or if there's barbs, you can buy archers. But mainly, you're looking at that gold to buy an early builder or an early trader. Overall, I see almost no reason to move and settle in a different spot. If my warrior could suss out what's over here, maybe moving to this hill tile might be better. But overall, I think this settle gives you the best you're going to get from this. But this is definitely a below average settle. This is worse than all the other ones so far. By quite a bit. But I think you just settle in place here. And one of the things I think the mod is doing really well is giving me an opportunity to settle in place more so than the base game does, right? Settling in place, getting your city down on turn 1, it might not be a huge difference to get it down on turn 2, but it is a difference. And any little bit you can make up in a game of Civ can be really helpful. So having at least the opportunity to settle on turn 1 is fantastic. But this is not as good of a start as the other ones. Now, this is a start. Just wowza. So many good tiles to work. A 3-2 tile here to work is incredible. It makes me kind of want to move over to this Grassland Hills tile to settle just so I can work a 3-2 right away. We see that we have some marble over here. It's not within the initial city boundaries, but it is around a little. These little lakes and these little, I guess this is coast, whatever it is. It does concern me a little bit. Having these water tiles here, you can see they don't give you a lot of good yield. So having them in your city is not super ideal. It is ocean, so this does count as a coastal settle. So if you really wanted to boost sailing, you could settle on this tile as well. I'm gonna move on to this bananas tile and see what's around. Ooh, now that makes it a little interesting, right? So you move over, you get the 3-2 tile and this 2-2 tile, but you lose the sailing boost along the way. So I think it's probably just best to settle in place again. This is an interesting start. I think it's generally a little bit better than the rest. Having lots of chops here as well, right? You can imagine we're going to have to put some districts down against this river. So we're going to be chopping out some of these woods and rainforests. I like this start a lot, actually. I'd probably settle in place. Although a reasonable person could settle here, I think. Obviously, you only have so much room for your warrior to go, and if the warrior spawns on a different tile next to your settler, it can scout a different area out for you. But overall, I think this is slightly above average. This is a fine settle. This settle here, this is our last one we're doing with Japan before we hop over to Pericles next. But this is more close to what I was expecting I would get when we first started. Now, obviously, your starting location is based on a bunch of things, and some of those things are what other civs are in the game. Obviously, if Cleopatra's in the game, she has a floodplain bias, and so if there's not a lot of floodplain room on the map, Cleopatra will get that floodplain room because of the bias. So we've been spawning a lot next to rivers, like small rivers that kind of connect with one or two kind of coastal tiles. This is very, very different. This is giving us mountains for campus and holy site adjacencies. It's giving us salt over here as well. I really, really dig this start. It doesn't look as impressive as the last one. I think maybe on the whole it's not. This is a +5 camp, or +4 campus. That is a +4 campus there as well, which is something good to know. I think you benefit a lot here from just being able to settle right in spot for a 2-2 settle on the Plains Hill, work a 2-2 tile, and slowly build up your empire from there. I think that the lack of like a true secondary set of tiles to work, you work this 2-2, then you end up working this 2-2. After that, who knows? You're going to have to clear these bananas in this rainforest to get this campus down. So there's not a lot of great tiles afterwards. This is also a really good harbor here. This is a great harbor too. So there's a lot going on here. I really dig this start, though. This is a start I was expecting, and if I rolled this start in the Civ Give, I'd be more than happy with it. Also, one of the things you didn't see when the game loaded is that we are on a continent split here, which can be very, very helpful for finding luxury resources throughout the game. So even though that doesn't directly benefit us now, knowing we have a second continent here is huge for us to be able to settle on multiple continents, which is generally a really good idea. And we also boost foreign trade from having discovered the continent. We are now loading up starts as Pericles, and wow, we have some choices to make in this first start. So a really reasonable person could settle right here. Settling right here does not give you the 2-2 start, but it gives you a lot of good tiles to work. It makes it one tile away from this dies. Now what the dies does for you is gives you this one faith, and that one faith will help you get a pantheon really, really early. And in a game like the Civ Give with a lot of players and only a handful of good pantheons, that can be very, very helpful. If you want to take a bit of a risk, you could move over here to settle the Plains Hill. That'll give you the same sailing boost, same fresh water. It'll give you a better starting tile, and it'll also give you a better harbor. Not that harbors are super important districts for us, but it is an option. I think on the whole, I would probably take the risk and head over this way, especially now that I've moved my warrior and I see that there's a wonder here. I want to create a little bit of space so the next city can probably come and grab all this faith. But otherwise, I think you move over one, and I think you settle right here. Now, depending on the disaster setting, you might not want to do this, right? We have our disaster setting to 2. I'm not sure what it'll be exactly in the Civ Give. I'm assuming just the normal 2. So this is fine here. If it was any higher than 2, this settle wouldn't really work for us, and that risk will have not been worth it. The more I think about it, maybe it was just smart to settle in place. But hey, I don't mind this at all. I think this is a very, very, very good start. Very interesting start here, all right? So you only have fresh water from this lake, which is totally fine. Fresh water is fresh water. The thing that makes lakes a little bit worse than rivers is that they actually give you these tiles, which aren't very good, whereas the rivers just kind of give you the fresh water. Settling in place is reasonable. I think I'd probably move over here to be closer to the cotton and the sugar. I like the idea of getting this 3 gold early. Obviously, you move your warrior as well. I thought this might be a river, just another one-off lake tile. There's not a lot going on here. I think... Yeah, I think you just move closer to the cotton and you just call that that. Although... You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe the settle in place is better. If you move closer to the cotton, you're getting more of these water tiles in one city, and I think you want to try and avoid that if you can. There's also a cotton right here as well. So I think maybe just 2 cotton, 2 tiles away is fine. I think maybe you just settle in place. I'm not a huge fan of this one. This isn't my favorite start ever, but it gets you going, and that's the main thing. This is a start where it at least gets you into the game and going. The double cotton will give you something to trade, a little bit of gold, a little bit of food. But overall, this is a pretty just whelming. It's just a whelming start. None of these tiles are particularly helpful. The water tiles, that is, anyway. All right, so not a lot going on here. Obviously, you like to have a coffee tile right in your capital city. That culture can be quite helpful. The problem with that culture is this tile has no production. So before we even have a population high enough that working this tile is worth it, the one culture is probably not as helpful. I think you just move your warrior onto the hill here to kind of see what's around. Some good mountains here for districting. It seems like what's just outside of our capital city is going to be a little better than what is directly inside the borders here. We have a couple of grassland hills, so none of those will be 2-2 if we settle them. I think on the whole, I do want to move away from the T, though. We're not going to work it very early, and the city can always grow into it. Maybe moving across here gives us a 2-2 tile and a few different districting options. You move across here, you put a campus down, you put a commercial hub down. Maybe that's a smart start to an empire there. You have a few chops, some high production tiles. I mean, it's kind of one or the other. Which tile do you want to pick? I just don't know what's here, and I do know what's here. And I don't mind what's here, and this could be like a volcano again. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that, but we're going to see which would have been better. One sec. Let's settle this city here, and let's see what would have been better. That's totally fine. That's totally fine. You just move it over, put your campus here for the +3, put your commercial hub here. All good. Everything's fine. Awesome. Good choice. This is a pretty underwhelming start overall, though. I guess it's just whelming again. There's no freshwater tiles that really suck, which is awesome, right? There are a few good tiles to work here. There are a few good districts. You know, what am I talking about? This is fine. You can start zooming with this one. If this is what I got in the Civ Give, I'd be happy with this. Now, this is a far more interesting start. I'm obviously going to go and settle this 2-2 Plains Hill here with a couple of 2-2 tiles to work. 2 quarry tiles that we want to chop as well. Obviously don't want to build a harbor in like a 5-tile lake, so that's pretty pointless to us. But I think if I have to settle next to the harbor anyway, that is where I'd go. You could move over here. I just think the citrus tile and the olives tile, well, you'll just grow into them anyway. If you have them in your initial 5-tile ring, they're not doing a lot for you in terms of food or production, and it's going to be a hot minute before you can pick them up. So pretty easy choice for me here to move over. Obviously, move your warrior first, always, just to scout out. Nothing I'm seeing is changing my mind, so we will come here and settle this tile for sure. I think there's a little bit of a lack of good districting options right away, and unlike Japan, just putting all the districts next to each other doesn't make them amazing. You do need some help sometimes. Decent commercial hub here. You could get a decent harbor up here, I suppose. So other than the lack of districting options, I really like this start. Good production, good food. Seems like a pretty defendable location. All in all, good start. This is a sick start. This is incredible. All right, so there's a few things we got to talk about here. This is awesome. So the first thing is we met a continent. You know how I feel about continent splits. Anytime you've already met a continent, like right off the start without even moving any of your units, the quality of the settle goes up, right? We know we'll have a good chance to settle multiple continents and collect all of the luxury resources on both continents, which is awesome. The next thing are geothermal fissures. Now, these fissures are pretty bad tiles to work. 2 food, 1 production, 1 campus, 1 science is not that great, especially for tiles that you can't remove this. You can't add anything on top of it until geothermal plants way later in the game. But you can settle on top of them, right? You can settle on top of them and have them still affect. So we're not going to move anywhere. We got fresh water. We're going to settle on top of this geothermal fissure. Okay, so a 2-2-1 base. We have a 2-2-1 tile here to work, but the main reason this is incredible is you have a +4 campus just sitting right in your empire with an early chop to get rid of it too, and you don't have to worry about chopping this woods because look at all the production that comes up right next to it. This is my favorite start we've rolled so far. I don't know if it's technically the best, but this is the kind of start that you can just zoom through a game with. So this is just... Well, I didn't even move my freaking warrior first. Didn't even move the warrior first. Looks like we're going to have a lot of good campus options. Good holy site options as well. So this is fantastic. I am into this very much. Another thing too is sometimes you can take a look at the wonders you can build. Obviously, if you can build a camp on this deer tile here, you can build a toa. So you do need to kind of suss out, hey, I would like to build the pyramids. Does my start have a flat desert tile? Maybe that's important to you. I would like to build the toa. Does my start have a camp kind of close to the capital? Like, those are the types of things you should think about as well. So this does give us the option for a Temple of Artemis, which is fantastic as well. This is easily my favorite start that we've done so far. On to Cleopatra. We are now in here with Cleopatra. So obviously with Cleopatra, some of the regular starting rules do not apply. Normally you would not want to be in the middle of like 167 floodplains tiles with no production. That is something that you can get around a little bit easier with Cleopatra. Anytime this floods, it won't damage anything that is in our empire, which is awesome. Also, we have a production boost to building districts near a river. So you can see a world where you just want to chuck a government plaza here and build a bunch of districts around it. Maybe you chuck it right here and build some districts around it. Whatever it is, you can start seeing the possibilities in your mind. All in all, I think this is a wonderful start for us. If we just settle in place, maybe you move up to the hill here to get this ivory right in your vicinity, but kind of whatever you pick, there's no really going wrong. Having a 2-2 tile to work immediately is important. Having some more 2-2 tiles, a 3-1-1 tile up here. There's production around. Right, there's production around. It's not too far away. You can buy into it. You have all this cotton here as well. Cleo has no problem getting gold. So if you need production in the capital, it is there for you when you need it. So I think all in all, you can probably just settle right in the middle here. Now that I'm thinking about it, just based on where the luxury resources are, it might be more prudent to move up to this hill, and then I can make more use of this area for districting, whether it's dams, industrial zones, commercial hubs, theater squares, whatever I want to put here, really. Let's move this onto the hill for vision. Another 2-2 tile. I'm pretty into this. I'm going to move over one and settle here. Even better with the mountains. Now I'm digging that settle even more. Having mountains like 2-3 tiles away, so they're not like taking up space in my empire, but can still give me good adjacency, is amazing. I dig this start. I really like this. If this is the kind of start you consistently get with Cleopatra on better balanced starts, this is wonderful. There we are. It's a good start. I like this start a lot. This is much better than the start we just had on the Cleo game we did for YouTube. I dig this. I like this start a lot. I'm like smirking. Like, this is great. I like this mod. Now, obviously, the mod makes it better for everyone. So everyone's going to have a really good start. But hey, if I can have a really good start, I'll take it. Man, they really just put Cleo in the middle of a bunch of floodplains, hey? I really like this mod. All right, so there's no hill to move our warrior to get a little bit more vision. I suppose this feels more interesting to us to check out what's down here, although I don't think we're going to be able to see much more. So I think we may as well send the warrior up this way to just kind of see what's up. This silk is a lot better than that silk. Obviously, it's on a higher production tile. In terms of what we want to settle, like I mentioned earlier, you want good tiles to immediately work. So if you move to this tile right here or to this tile right here, you have a 2-2 tile you can immediately work. If you move over here, you have a 3-1 you can immediately work. I prefer a 2-2 over a 3-1 either way, just to be a little more balanced. So I think we'll move over here, and there we go. Foreign trade is boosted. This was all an accident, right? But logical deduction allowed me to suss this out as a potentially good spot, and I feel great about that now. Continent split coming in hot here. You know how I feel about those. A 2-2 tile to work. Double copper for us to chop out. I'm never going to keep the copper. I'm always going to get rid of it. That is free gold in our empire. Fantastic stuff. Good district placement stuff here. I am loving this start. Let's settle this city and see what she looks like. Oh, I'm into it. 2-2 start. A couple of good tiles that we can use until we want to chop them out. Some good districts. Can't complain about this at all. All right, all things being even, I am going to move across here. I don't like settling after turn 2, but I will head over and settle here to get the 2-2 and the 3-2 tile in my empire. Also gives us a really good Toa opportunity over here, so I really dig this start a lot. I like this because you're getting all the floodplain stuff that you want with Cleopatra, but it's not at the cost of enough production tiles to get you going in your empire, if that makes sense, right? Obviously, there's not loads of production around, right? This is all on the whole a low production capital, but Cleo kind of tries to work with that, and that's what makes her fun to play in the early game. And so this is perfect. A 3-2 tile and a 2-2 tile for your first couple tiles to work. Moving into some luxury resources, you have all the floodplain stuff you want as Cleopatra. Again, we're 3 or 4 rolls in here, and there's not a single thing I can complain about with any of these Cleo starts. I mean, again, just wonderful stuff on the Cleopatra starts. I am going to move over here so I can have the 3-2 tile right away. Otherwise, though, just fantastic. Lots of production here. Some honey, which is awesome for growth. I'm also having luxury resources. Double wine here means we're going to have a tradable resource soon as well. So something we can trade. This is fantastic. I don't even know what else to say. All right, let's do 2 more with Cleopatra. We're like 4 for 4 on fantastic Cleo starts here. All right, so this is the first start that's kind of underwhelming as Cleopatra. I'm always a little bit tempted to settle near the 1 faith tile to get a Pantheon earlier, but this is just a terrible tile, and I don't really want to settle the coastal 2-2 just to have to work that. So I'm going to move up here to get the double 2-2 in my initial 5 ring of tiles. I'm not worried about the coastal settle for the sailing boost. Ooh, even more faith here. So this is... Right, knowing that we're going to have a lot of incense tiles as well is not ideal. But hey, all in all, this is a very, very just whelming start. But like I said earlier, Cleopatra being on the river, lots of floodplain stuff, and having a couple 2-2 tiles. I mean, this is all you could really ask for in a Cleo start, and anything more than this is just lovely, a cherry on top. So overall, I can get going with this start, which is all you really need in a game of Civ. All right, last roll as Cleopatra here, and I'm definitely going to head over the river and take the risk and settle on the 2-2. I think having a really good base is really nice. Settling in the middle here is totally fine to have 2 2s on either side. It just kind of depends on your risk/reward structure. I think on the whole, though, it's probably worth it to move across, settle on a 2-2. I do prefer 2-2 tiles, but I don't think a 3-1 tile is necessarily bad. I also don't think Cleo's going to have any trouble with growth later, so prioritizing production first isn't exactly the worst. Now we found this first tile as well. Obviously, we wouldn't know that would be there, but I don't mind this start at all. I think maybe you settle here in place just to have the double 2-2s, but either way, once you settle this as well, right, you're only 1 buy away or 1 growth away from the 2-2, and so I don't think it's too bad. Move over, settle on the Plains Hills, and that is that. This is an underwhelming start on the whole, though. It is nice to have some faith and some luxury resources nearby, especially this Furs is an incredible tile. Having the faith here for an earlier Pantheon is quite nice as well. While it's not the best tile to work, it does get the job done. Fresh water, decent districts because you're Cleo, and I think this is an alright start. And that'll be it for us for this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's something different. We're probably not going to do this again for a while. But if you did enjoy this kind of content, just rolling starts, talking about the game, let me know in the comment section below. Also, definitely don't hesitate to check the description for a few links. We stream on Twitch a few times a week. We have a great time. We just finished a wonderful domination/science Scotland game over on Twitch, and that was amazing. So if you want to check out the live stream, that link is there as well. Hit the like and subscribe button too, just to make sure you don't miss any of the other Civ videos we got pumping out on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Sometimes on the weekend too. It kind of just depends on if I can do it. But definitely Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for Civ content. On Friday, we will be starting a game with Japan, a real proper game. I've already recorded most of it. It's going to be a good time over there. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.